This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Hoffman. Today is Wednesday, the 26th of November, 2025, day before Thanksgiving. So glad you could join us here today. Coming up a little later on the program, we'll look at the closing markets with Corey Bratland of agmarket.net. But first, we're going to catch up with Iowa Ag Secretary Mike Naig, who just returned from his trade trip overseas to Southeast Asia, where he visited the countries of Vietnam and Indonesia. We're going to find out, first off, how his trip to Vietnam turned out. So let's talk about the Vietnam part of the trip then. How did that go? What kind of things did you see, kind of conversations you had, and what were some of the takeaways for you and the people you brought along?
Yeah, so again, this is a really dynamic market. I should mention that too, that we had a great delegation of Iowa farmers representing corn and soy, pork, beef. We had Farm Bureau on the trip as well. So a really well-rounded group and an experienced group that was traveling. So that was really nice too. Vietnam, of course, a little over 100 million people. It is an economy that's really growing. Everybody's seen a little bit of a downtick in their growth, but they're still growing at 5-6% GDP, which is really impressive. And that middle class continues to expand. And so for them, really, I would say across the board, this market has opportunity. We are selling things like DDGs, a really strong market for us. And ethanol actually is a really strong market. I think the exciting news that happened kind of right around or right before we got there and was breaking and kind of rolling out as we were there was that Vietnam has now published more information about the fact that they are going to go to an E10 ethanol blend in their transportation fuel, and they're going to start implementing that January 1, and it'll take full effect in June, July of this summer. So that's big news because they've got ethanol in their blend today, but this will take that. It'll put that 10%. It's a 250 million gallon new market for us, or increased market for us, and they will try to make some of that themselves, which of course they should do. But they're going to need to and have an opportunity to import ethanol as well. So across the board, there's opportunity there. DDGs, soybean meal, soybean corn, beef. Pork is a huge part of their diet, and we don't have very much of that meat market right now. And major competition for us in the marketplace from Australia, from the EU, places like that on the pork side. So we've got some work to do, but we see a lot of upside really across the board in a really dynamic economy.
What's the message you kind of give them when we have that competition facing us, whether it is for pork, like you said, on a larger scale, but even for some of the other products? And what's the message that we're able to deliver about our products?
Well, the good news is, and maybe the message we were certainly receiving was that, and this is what we tell people too, is we want folks to meet the farmers who are producing these products and that we can be a consistent quality supplier. You can count on us, and our quality will stand up to anybody in the world. And what the answer back is that's great, but it's a price sensitive market, meaning if we've got tariffs on our products coming in, or we're just more expensive than others, then we're gonna lose out on some of that market share. And unfortunately, that is the case. We're at a disadvantage on a few products, a few tariff lines going into Vietnam. That's the good news, is that there was a trade framework that has been signed by the Trump administration, and now there's negotiations ongoing to really round out that free trade agreement, or that reciprocal trade agreement. And so where we saw issues where we may have tariffs on U.S. products going into Vietnam, those we believe will be dealt with in this agreement. So I think that was a strong message that we heard was, hey, it's price sensitive. Even a 5% tariff on something puts you out of the marketplace. We've got to resolve those things, and we know that they're on the table. So I think Vietnam, with a new free trade agreement, when it gets signed, and we hope it's sooner rather than later, I really think that there's a step change that could occur there, and we're positioned to take advantage of that.
That again was Iowa Agriculture Secretary Mike Naig. We'll follow up on the Indonesia part of his trade trip coming up next week. Right now, it's time to go through the closing markets, and Corey Bratland of agmarket.net joining us here. Corey, last trading day before a day off and a shortened trading day on Friday. What did we see come out of those grains?
Hey, Dustin. Yeah, grain market's a little stronger here today. I think a little bit of it is contributed to traders taking off the extended holiday here. But regardless, yeah, we had corn market up here, 7-8 cents on the day, and soybeans a little slow to get going, but they finally got going on the day and ended up about 7-8 cents as well. So all in all, we had a good day here going into the Thanksgiving holiday.
Now, obviously, Friday is going to be a shortened trading day. I mean, outside of any news that happens around the world while we're taking the day off tomorrow, do you see anything that would really move that market on Friday one way or the other?
You never know, but there was, we got a little support here today. I think on the soybean side of things, we heard some rumors on Monday, and we're just kind of waiting for confirmation that China's still back in buying a few cargoes of soybeans from the U.S. That seems to be kind of helping, giving us underlying support here on the soybean prices. Now, corn market, there has been, and I think they are just strictly rumors, but there is a little bit of some rumors that maybe China is sniffing around looking for some corn out of the U.S., but I think that's what they are as of right now, is just simply rumors. Now, the funds, we don't have the updated CFTC, the commitment of traders report from the CFTC. So, we have some estimates, and we're still thinking that these funds are still hanging, 120, 130,000 contracts short. So, and is we had going into first notice day here on Friday. So a lot of guys had to get out of their December positions here on both the wheat and the corn here today. So I think that kind of helped support this corn market here in the near term, and maybe getting those funds to cover some of that bigger short position that they're still holding on.
All right, well, then moving over to the livestock side of things, Corey, cattle and hogs. Cattle's been volatile lately. Did we see that continue today, and how did hogs shape up as well?
Yeah, volatility is the name of the game. Cattle are very, very strong. We saw live cattle up, $6-7 a hundred here. We saw the feeder cattle back up $8 to $9 a hundred. So, we've had a lot of volatility here with Tyson Foods closing down their plant and then we're taking some of the tariffs off on some beef coming into the U.S. So net, I think what we had is just some scared money running to the sidelines now that maybe it seems to have subsided here a little bit. We did see, cash lower yesterday, but maybe not quite as low as what we thought in here. So we did see, I think we maybe overdid it to the downside, which a lot of times we do in this cattle market. So I do look for this cattle market to rebound in here and stabilize here for a bit. But we did have a very, very nice recovery, yesterday, and we carried through that very strong higher here today.
All right. Well, Corey, if folks want to look at some of the intel you guys are following and see what kind of way the markets are shaping up from ag markets view, where's the best place for them to start that conversation or look at that information?
You bet, Dustin. Yeah, just head on over to our website, which is simply just agmarket.net, and you can find our information right there.
All right, Corey Bratland joining us here on this day before Thanksgiving. Corey, have a good Thanksgiving, and thanks so much for the insight. We'll talk again next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, Dustin.
That again was Corey Bratland of agmarket.net. Let's go ahead and take a look at the closing numbers on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network market screen. At the close, December corn up 8 1/4 at 431 3/4. January beans up 6 3/4 at 1131 1/2. Soybean meal up a dime at 317.10 per ton. Soy oil 57 cents higher at 50.87. Chicago wheat up 1 3/4 at 529 even. Kansas winter wheat up 4 at 517 1/4. Kansas spring wheat up 16 3/4 at 540 1/4. Minneapolis spring wheat down 3 1/2 at 576 1/2. Oats down 6 cents at 304 even. On the Merc live cattle 402 higher at 211.02. Feeder cattle up $8.05 at 315.12. Lean hogs up $1.97 at 80.42. Pork cutouts unchanged at 93.22 and Class 3 milk unchanged at 15.93. And that's been a check of the closing markets. A reminder, there will be no overnight trading tonight. The markets are closed tomorrow for Thanksgiving. They'll be on a shortened trading schedule for Friday. And of course, we will not have Ag Matters PM tomorrow in observance of the Thanksgiving holiday. You can find all our content, though, online at iowaagnet.com. From the iAaron Studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Riley Smith and Mark Magnuson, we thank you for watching. From all of us at the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you on Friday. This is the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network.